All right, so I'm Bruce Roberts, your host of the August Mission podcast. Here we are today with a very special guest, Mr. Morozov.
Correct.
Okay, I'm glad I got that right. Max is he's an American citizen now, but he is from Ukraine, and he has very personal relationships and a personal story to tell related to the current crisis in Ukraine. We're extremely excited about this conversation and the opportunity to have him on our show today. Max, let's just start by, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you ended up in Utah? What brought you here?
Well, Bruce, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here, honestly. And you just told me that this was going to be over internet and more people know what you guys do and the story. What I'm going to tell you, I mean, this is incredible. So thank you for that. To answer your question, so the story goes, it's a long story, but to make it short, in 1994, right after the breakup of USSR, there was a first Ukrainian-American College of Business. And I was deciding at that time, what am I going to do after high school? And that was a perfect opportunity for me. Anyway, year and a half into it, I was sent to United States, kind of an exchange program, student exchange program. And I ended up being at UVCC at that time, Utah Valley Community College. Now it's Utah Valley.
What year was this?
That was 94.
Okay, all right.
That's when I came here.
I also went to UVCC before it became UVU.
Yeah.
And I just was wondering if I passed you in the hall or not, but sounds like you were there a couple of years before me. So.
I came. So my first time coming to U.S. was 94. I ended up being at that college, and that's how I met Larry Miller. And I found out that he was the sponsor of this project in Ukraine. So, and then basically I went back to Kiev, and after my 6 months, my experience here, and then I decided to continue my education in the United States. So I graduated from the UVCC at that time, and then transferred to U of U. So
fantastic. And then what year was this when you finished your education at the U of U?
So I finished in 1998.
Okay.
And I went back to Ukraine for 3 years. And in 2001, I kind of decided to settle down here in Salt Lake.
Fantastic. And what parts of Ukraine are you from? Where's your family from?
I'm from Kiev.
From Kiev.
From the capital, yeah.
So you probably have a lot of personal investment in the siege of Kiev right now. That's a loaded question. It's a huge question.
It's a huge question. To be honest, I'm emotionally drained, physically drained, just because my morning begins 2 o'clock in the morning. Just wake up, take a look at the news, what's going on. Then cannot sleep anymore, go pray for all my people over there, and just start the day. And throughout the day I get the phone calls, and throughout the day I check the messages. I listen to the journalist while I'm working. So anyway, my wife is, Max, enough is enough, but I cannot stop. I mean, this is incredible what's happening over there, and I wanted to stay on top of it and to help as much as I can.
And we're going to talk about some of your friends you have there, because some of your friends are actually helping August Mission right now. But let's talk about family members for a second. What family members do you have? Where are they at?
So, my aunt, who just recently reached Bonn, Germany. This is where my sister and my mom lives. Well, my mom lives in Leipzig. That's eastern Germany. Anyway, she's from Irpin. That's the city was just recently bombed. You probably saw on the news the bridge they blew up, and I remember I'm watching the news. My gosh, I was fishing under that bridge when I was a kid. That's where my grandparents used to live. So my aunt lives there, and my cousin, who gave a birth on the 22nd, 2 days before the war began. So with the infant child, she was traveling for almost 8 days to Germany. So finally she's in the hands of my sister. So as aunt, she arrived, I think, 3 days ago.
I cannot imagine making that kind of trip under those circumstances with a newborn.
Newborn, and she had a C-section.
Oh my
and
gosh.
she had to stay in line and they've been crossing not in Lviv, they've been crossing with the Hungarian border. Anyway, then traveling, oh my gosh, I mean, through Hungary, then transfer to the bus to Romania, then from Romania to Germany. So, I mean, you can only imagine. And 6 months prior, she had a back surgery on top of that. And of course, they did not let her husband go, because in Ukraine, from 16 to 60, you have to stay and fight.
Right. And
So yeah, that's my cousin. Another my cousin, his wife, she's also safe, and she's in Prague right now with the kid.
that's good. That's good to hear. I'm glad they made it out. What's one of the things that's been, I guess, for me, interesting and very cool to watch is just the toughness and the resiliency of the Ukrainian people. Like, they did not buckle. Like, they're not running. You know, you see these interviews, and they're here to fight, and they're happy to stay and do so. It's inspiring.
Well, I watched, on the Facebook, and I see these videos all over the world where they do before, let's say, the last one was a hockey game in Canada, and they played Ukrainian anthem. Jesus, this is one of those things, like, I start hearing the words and my heart, and I start crying. I mean, because this is just what's, my heart is with them, because they're, how courage they are, how heroic they are, and they do not afraid. And sometimes, I speak to them, to my friends on the phone. I mean, yeah, it's Ukrainian slang, if you will, but bad words. But they said, Max, we're gonna stay to the end. This, such and such, they are not gonna take our territory. And this is all over Ukraine like that. I mean, what Putin did, he united Ukraine. So, like, it's one unit.
Yeah, would you say it's true? So one of the things I've heard is that Ukrainians have been, and they've been anticipating this and talking about this for years. They knew this day would come, and so they were ready to fight the Russians. Is that true?
No.
No.
Look, right now, the cities that are being bombed by Putin, Kharkiv, for example, or Mariupol, this is Russian speaking. And that's, again, this is Russian speaking. Like half of Ukraine, Russian speaking, and half of the Ukrainian speaking. So we live like a family. My last name, Morozov, it's a Russian name. My father is from Kamchatka. My mother is from Moscow. Well, under the Moscow. But I was born in Kiev, and I consider myself Ukrainian, so I speak both languages. So we never thought until the last day, even the President Zelensky did not even think. Like, we thought it was a big...
That it would really happen. That
Yeah.
You'd really do it.
Yeah, we thought it was a big bluff.
Wow. You didn't think that he would try to annex some of those, what we call, the Donbass, or some of those more Russian regions that they laid claim to?
Oh, my gosh, this is an excuse.
Crimea? Yeah.
I mean, they are coming, they came to Ukraine, and they are saying on the Russian television, which I watch because I have internet, and I watch, and it takes me 2 minutes to turn it off because I cannot listen to this bullshit. But basically they are saying that we are coming to Ukraine to defend the Russian-speaking, to save the Ukrainians from nationalists. And this is just an excuse.
It's propaganda.
Well, very much so.
Yeah, Putin's using it as propaganda. And we know that, the media in Russia is state-controlled, pretty tightly controlled. So he's trying to control what his people consume, right, and the message that gets out, which is unfortunate. Yeah, it's hard to say what everyday Russians really believe or what they see.
No, one radio station that I listen like every day for the past 20 years, it's independent radio station Echo of Moscow. And this is the radio station where they bring different people with a different opinion, and you are the one who listener. You kind of, get this point or don't get that point, but you are the one who basically who decides, who is right, who is wrong, and who you're gonna believe. And I've been friends with a couple of journalists from Echo of Moscow, and right now Putin closed them, shut them down completely after 30 years of radio station being on the air. Anyway, I mean, it's
you can't tolerate free speech and opinions right now. He can't.
absolutely. And this is with the TV station that there was only one. It's called Rain TV. Shut them down. And from what I was listening this morning, Instagram and the YouTube are next.
Sure, yeah, like social media.
Yeah.
He needs to control that right now. Yeah.
Yeah, so he doesn't want his own people to see what kind of.
No, certainly not. Let's talk about the response, the international response, and what the international community has done in support of Ukraine for a minute. So far, there's been a lot of pledges of support. We see, I think, a lot of goods being collected and shipped that way to help with as far as humanitarian aid. I've seen a lot of fundraising happening, collecting money for Ukraine, some of it being deposited directly in the Ukrainian bank to support the military. From your perspective, let's talk about the international response and support of Ukraine for a minute.
Well, look, on my speech at the governor office, I was saying that, watching right now how the whole world, how the whole planet turned into the blue and yellow color, the color of national flag. And the support, I have a feeling that, well, not a feeling, I know for sure that this is not the war, how shall I say it correctly? This is the war basically of free world against what Putin wants to do through Ukraine. And my people are suffering because of that. But anyway, the support you see. And of course, right now Joe Biden talking, the oil prices increases, but at the same time, the same with the other countries, and nobody is complaining about that. And what it feels to me that people are kind of, okay, I will sacrifice this for the freedom of the world.
Yeah, high oil prices is a small price to pay.
Exactly,
yeah.
Exactly. So, it's incredible to see, absolutely incredible to see the support that is coming, even from the military side. We wish they can close the sky, because talking to my friends in Ukraine who are right there in the center, they are saying, listen, we can take the Russian army, but we need the sky closed. But the support they have, the weapons, and then the humanitarian help that is coming, this is fantastic.
Yeah, I know we could dive into politics pretty deep here if we're not careful. But one of the things, you're right. Ukraine is the front right now for free people everywhere. For the whole what we call the Western society. Like, they're taking the brunt, and they are fighting the war on our behalf. I'd like to see them get more support in terms of actual military support. And that's my personal opinion, and I agree with you. I think that NATO should. They should enact a no-fly zone and just basically close the skies and gain air superiority, which would take us all of a day.
Exactly. Or at least to have the. I know I've heard about this. What is that system called? Patriot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Patriot system.
Yeah, but something like that. The Ukrainians they are fighters, and if we can control the sky, because that's where we're losing right now.
Yeah, I think they've proven that they're fighters. They've proven that they're tough and they're resilient. They just need a little help.
A little help.
Just a little help right now would go a long, long ways. I agree with you. I'd like to see us do a little bit more personally, but I think everyone's afraid of Putin's threats in World War III.
Mm-hmm. It's already happening.
Agreed. This is it. So let's win it.
That's exactly no. And was driving today to this interview, and I did not have a chance to listen to Zelensky's speech today. He had at the Congress. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and he was basically saying we wanted the United States. They are the leaders of the free world, roughly, and democracy. So please help us because. Without the states, without anybody, we would lose that war. But as I said, it's incredible to see from the West and the rest of the world how they are helping Ukraine.
So let's talk a little bit about how you and I met. We've only just known each other for a couple weeks now.
Correct.
Which is it's been a great experience for us, obviously, because about the same time we decided that we had to help out. And when I say we, I mean August Mission decided we had to help out with the situation. Part of our mission statement is to help refugees and displaced persons. So this was very obvious for us to get involved. But when we started looking at the problem set and deciding how we were going to get involved, one of the things we do that's important to us is not just to throw money and resources at a problem, but to try to figure out how we can have the greatest impact with a limited amount of resources, with a limited amount of people. And that takes putting boots on the ground, putting people over there, and getting like honest assessments of where the real need is. And so it's been great for us to be able to have this relationship with you and be able to ask you, from your opinion, you're talking to people in Ukraine that are fighting the fight. What's the greatest need? And you have friends who you've introduced us to, who are guys that are in Ukraine right now, or your friends are taking them around and introducing them to key people and helping us create that network and really ask the right question of what can we do to help you right now. And so I think that us meeting you is just fortuitous, and having bringing you into our network and having you help us with this problem set. It's been great for us.
No, fantastic, and I'm very happy to help. Very happy to help.
Just really appreciate kind of the value added. I guess I'm trying to think of how we met. I guess it was through a mutual contact, right?
No, it was we had with the Larry Miller group. You remember we met during the meeting, Zoom meeting.
Right.
Yeah, and then we met at the press conference.
That's right. You were on that initial Zoom call,
right?
And we talked about when they asked me what we brought to the table and what we were going to do about it. And I think we were the only one on the call that actually had a plan to do something. Everyone else was just talking about fundraising.
Right.
Right. We're going to raise money and then give it to the problem.
Right.
And I was on the call saying, well, this is how we plan to solve the problem.
Yeah, we had Bruce, meant to be.
It was meant to be. Yeah. So fast forward the next day, you and I are up at the Capitol. There's a press conference. Governor gets up and talks about, Governor Cox wants to, rally Utah behind this effort and raise money for Ukraine, which is fantastic. And I think they've raised about $4 million at this point.
Really? Fantastic.
Yeah,
I did not know.
Yeah, so they're having a lot of success raising money for Ukraine, and I think they'll, at some point they'll put that money towards the effort in some way, shape, or form. In the meantime, we're August Mission. We're also working over there to do what we can. Let's talk a little bit, just briefly, about the meeting yesterday with your friend Oleg, who introduced my guys on the ground to the governor of Lviv. What can you tell us about that?
So Lviv is the western city. It's right on the border with Poland. And I have my best friend who lives in Kiev, but originally who is from Lviv. Anyway, we've been friends forever. And I've called him. He owns the factory. He manufactures furniture. And of course, these type of guys, they know everybody. And I've explained his name is Sasha. And I said, Sasha, this is help we need. He said, absolutely. My son, Oleg, he is right now in Lviv. I will, here is the contact. Anyway, and this is how it's all started. They listened to that you are guys coming with the help, and they set everything up. And the good thing about that right now during this war, officially we would need to, or your organization would need to send the documents to the Ministry of Interiors. By the time they look at it, by the time they send it to the local authority in Lviv, it takes time. And every day, very unpredictable how long it's going to take. So we took a shortcut and went exactly to the right people. Anyway, yeah.
Which is fantastic. And right now, it's a conflict zone right now. There's a war going on in Ukraine. And because of that, I think a lot of shortcuts are being taken because now is not the time for bureaucratic processes.
Right.
Now is the time to get things done.
To help, yes.
And to that end, I know that one of the what we call a line of effort we're kind of trying to develop there is to send medical professionals over to help. I know that Nick and Oleg, when they talked to the governor of Lviv yesterday, they talked about setting up sending volunteer doctors and other types of providers into Western Ukraine to work out of some of the clinics there, mobile clinics and hospitals, and they were very open to that. But one of the things that was communicated back to me that I'm interested, to hear your take on is that he said the governor was a little bit skeptical because a lot of aid workers, agencies, other organizations that showed up, and they'd promised a lot, and then not come through on their promises, like never showed up again.
Exactly. That's what I got the same information.
Which is unfortunate. I know that there's a lot of people wanting to help, but what I've also seen and what has been communicated to me is that because Ukraine's now a conflict zone, a lot of people aren't willing to go there. They'll help from, and I say people, I mean individuals, organizations, other governments. They're willing to work, to support Ukraine from surrounding countries, but they don't necessarily want to cross the border and be in an active conflict zone. I think that's one of the things that's made our organization different is that it's not that we're willing to go to a dangerous place. We're just going to go to where the need is.
Do you know any other organizations doing the same thing, what you're doing?
I can't say that I do, actually.
So where are the Mavericks?
Yeah. So,
okay, let's show the example.
I know there's one Polish charity that has been running supplies across the border and then taking people back. And we're actually going to try to team up with them and see if we can't, add some synergy to that effort. So, yeah, you're right. We are kind of the Mavericks, and that's okay. So what we just need to do is just raise awareness of what we're doing and try to make sure that we're providing the most.
God bless you. God bless you, man. Thank you.
We can, yeah. What else? So I can tell you two of the things that we're working on doing right now, and I'd like your opinion. If there's something, just from your perspective, what else should we be doing? I'll tell you the two things we're trying to do right now is one, provide volunteer medical providers where they're needed. And so we're just gathering volunteers from the states. We're organizing them going over there. And then our guys are receiving them on the ground and taking them to where they need to be to provide the service. The other thing we're trying to work out is because organizations, most of them are unwilling to cross the border, we're trying to work out a deal to get some trucks that we can then use to transport goods from those points of distribution in Poland or Hungary, whatever, Romania, and then take it to wherever it needs to go in Ukraine. And so we're working on transportation.
And we're talking about goods like food, water, like this.
Yeah, food, water, medical supplies is a big one. There's some other items that have been requested. As a humanitarian organization, I don't know that we can do like the combat support, helmets and body armor stuff. Although
which is I don't get it.
Yeah,
this is not the. I know there is a defensive weapons and there is offensive, and helmet and the bulletproof jackets. This is a need. I mean, you are defending, and what is happening right now, the civilians are taking the weapons. And actually, a friend of mine who was in the army, but he already retired a couple of years ago, but now he's training civilians. And he said, Max, what these guys need, they need the helmets and they need the bulletproof jackets.
I can tell you that we're providing it for our own people for sure, and for some
But see, this is the thing I don't understand. Like, why is it so difficult?
I think there's some. It's not difficult, but there's some in the humanitarian space. There's just some rules about independence and neutrality and impartiality that you have to pay attention to. Now that being said, there's also the common sense side of things, right? And so, common sense is that we are going to try to provide protective equipment, for people that are working with us or for those that we're working with. And to that end, we know that it's needed in Ukraine. So we have made a contact with a company over there that's a logistics company who is doing exactly that. And we are going to help them as much as we can with information and telling them where the need's at and, providing networks and contacts because we do want to help the people in general. So there's a great company over there that we've made a contact with that does exactly that. So we want to help where we can for sure.
No, thank you. I mean, I addressed it not to you personally. I just in general, that this.
Why can't we do that?
Why can't we do that? You know what I mean? Because again, this is you trying to save a life.
I understand it. It's why is this a thing, right? Why do we even have to have a discussion about whether or not providing some kind of protective equipment,
right?
Crosses a line for a humanitarian organization, which I agree with you. It shouldn't, but At the end of the day, I think that one of the things that empowers humanitarian organizations is being able to and allows them access to work, in conflict zones is being able to maintain the neutrality, and extend your support and your help to basically whoever's in need, right?
Yeah. Well, right now, what you guys doing and Larry Miller organization and Dear Utahns, oh my gosh, I'm renting the facility from the Megaplex at Jordan Commons, and I saw today the truck came in loads and loads and loads for people were bringing just, shoes, toothbrush, baby powder, you name it, but it is unbelievable in just one theater, and there are so many other theaters, other places that I think they are moving into the Utah Food Bank facility, and from what I understand, there are 400 volunteers already because we need to repackage everything. And I've asked the contacts. I said, please keep me informed because Ukrainian community will also wanted to come and help. And anyway, this stuff was gonna go to people, the refugees, the people who are on the, basically on the border. And of course, I hope it will reach people in Ukraine, those who lost their homes, because they will need everything. And answering your question, or not your statement that what's going to be next, this is a situation. Every day something is changing. So right now you're doing the medical, which is huge. This is one of the most important things. But and then let's see where else we can help.
Agreed, and that's one of the things that for August Mission, like we don't just do one thing.
Mm-hmm.
For us it's hard for us to market, right? Because people ask us what do you do? Well, we do, and I tell them, well, we do whatever's needed, and sometimes it's hard for them to wrap their mind around that. When I was talking with some of the fundraising folks, they're, well, what are you going to go over there and do? I'm like, I don't know. We're going to go over there and figure out what needs to be done.
Exactly.
And then we'll do that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's hard to market sometimes, but I feel like that has the bigger impact, when it comes time to, actually do.
Well, keep me in the loop because, whatever contacts in any other cities you need, we will find.
That's awesome. And I know that as our mission expands over there, I'm glad to have a friend like you. We'll definitely use your contacts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Continue to try to help people as much as we can. So for those, and just real quick, so let's give a plug for your business here. Tell us what you do here in Utah now.
When people ask me what I do, I say I make fat kids smile. I make ice cream.
But what's the name of your business?
It's called Bon Bon.
And you work out of more than one Megaplex theater, or?
So no, I'm a wholesale. Just last week we launched our new packaging at all Harmon stores.
Oh, fantastic!
Yes, and I sell my product to Megaplex theaters, restaurants. We have 4 locations at the arena, Vivint Arena. And right now the new packaging, very exciting. And my gosh, today my day started at 2 o'clock in the morning and it's not going to be done. Tonight is the Jazz game, and so going to come home around 11. But it is what it is,
So you are literally living the American dream.
Exactly.
Well,
exactly.
Congratulations to you, sir. We're
Thank
happy
you.
to have you. And to that, kind of that point, what you're talking about with everyone coming out and donating. I appreciate this state, and I appreciate the people of this state. I think Utah has a nature, that's built on service and humanity and helping your fellow man, and I think you can always count on them to come out and do what they can. And be well intentioned, right, to try to help people in need. And I think we're seeing that. And I'm proud that we're based here and we can be a part of that, and that they're supporting us and helping us, do what we're doing over there and making at least a small difference in the lives of some of those people. So
I agree 100%. And honestly, I'm proud that I am considering myself as a Utahns as well. Because I've learned a lot, and again, one of the most important lessons is just to help people and Utahns. Again, I'm tremendously very thankful to them.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time today. Really appreciate you being on the show and having this conversation with us. We know we're going to stay in touch with you and be friends, and I know that we're going to be working with you closely over the next, who knows, months, years, as this, continues to develop, and who knows where it's going to go. But appreciate making your acquaintance. Appreciate you being on the show today and sharing your story.
And I appreciate you, Bruce, and your organization, what you guys do. Whatever you need, I will help you.
All right. Thanks, Max.
Thank you.